Hey guys, happy holidays. So, in case you don't know, I'm a bit of a gamer. I particularly like to play some role-playing games. I started with D&D, but I also from time to time indulge in a solo role-playing game called Ironsworn, specifically Starforged Ironsworn, which is a space exploration kind of system. And you can play it solo or with other people in a campaign without a GM, without a game master. In this game, you have things called oracles, which allow you to roll in these oracles and tell stories, sort of like choose your own adventure, but the game has a feedback loop where it kind of directs you where to go. I have some specially made oracles here just for Star Wars. And in case you don't know, yes, this is a Die Hard themed Star Wars holiday special. So this is something you can keep on in the background, just listen to it. It's just me kind of nerding out and just kind of having fun with this system and teaching you the system along the way if you're kind of interested in it. Now, before we begin, I'll tell you what materials I'm working with. I'm working with these oracles, as I said, if you can see them through the glare there. They are double-sided and they have planet names on them. Like this one is for droid types because there's different types of droids in Star Wars. These are different kinds of starships, both big and small. So some of them are capital class ships. And like I said, they're all double-sided here. And then also I am using something called the GM's Apprentice, but I'm using my own specially made Star Wars GM's Apprentice. These are double-sided, so you draw from them. You just pick it, and it has so many things on it that direct the story. It has special images. So if you can see through the glare there, they have images here and over here, and they have descriptors down here. And then here's the if you ever want to know if something's likely to happen or unlikely, kind of like a GM's call. Instead of rolling a D100 or anything, you have that. This basically just directs you through the story, and it has things like what you hear, you murmuring in an unknown language, right? You see roiling, oily smoke. So this game gives you a feedback loop. The GM's Apprentice is made by some other fellows online. It's a great idea. I took their template and just made my own. It's not for sale. It's just one that I made, and it basically allows me to play a Star Wars either solo game or a co-op game. I'll co-op with a friend of mine or two when none of us wants to be the GM. None of us wants to be the dungeon master, the game master. We can all just play this together. So I've got that. Then I also have this. This is Stargazer. It is a system that someone made that just basically makes it where you can play Starforged online for free. As you can see, everything here I have like the Blade Master, my Devotant to the Force. I have a starship. I'm an infiltrator. So I am a sneaky person who's good with blades, like knives and things like that. But I have a little bit of the Force power in me. I can draw on the Force to gain advantage a little bit. So I'm like a Force adept, but not a fully trained Jedi. My character is a Zabrak. So if you look up here, I'm using another module that I kind of created that allows you to adopt and adapt your stats up here. So you usually start in Ironsworn with stats 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. So you put a 3 in something, that's your best thing. And then 2 2s somewhere. That's things you're so at, and the things you kind of suck at, or just okay at, you're 1 1. But since I'm a Zabrak, I get to push my iron +1, and then I gain a +1 to any survival checks, as well as enduring any stress to withstand cold, heat, torment, or pain. That's a little extra thing that my character gets, and I've got this here. It is, after all, Die Hard on a Star Destroyer, come Life Day. For those of you who don't know who the holiday special is, it's an old Star Wars thing that came out decades ago called the Holiday Special. It's pretty much reviled and hated by everybody, but it's also got a special place in people's heart because it's so bad. Some people have come to love it, kind of thing. So I am taking from that. Instead of Christmas, Star Wars, many sectors, not every sector, but many sectors of the outer rim territories have something called Life Day, especially the Wookiees on Kashyyyk. They celebrate Life Day. I'm having my character be a Zabrak who has some friends on Kashyyyk, and he's gone there. The story is I've already decided he's gone there, and he's in orbit above the planet Kashyyyk, the sort of forest world of Kashyyyk, and he's there with some friends that he's known, and he's going to celebrate Life Day. But he is taken aboard with some rebel friends who come by. And he was once part of the Rebel Alliance. He didn't want to be anymore. He saw too much death and destruction. He got out of it, and now he's trying to just let the Empire and the rebels are fighting, and he's kind of out of it. But then some friends came by and said, "We need your help. We have stolen a prototype Star Destroyer, and it is currently in orbit high above Kashyyyk." They convinced my character to come with them and to help kind of, fix some of the engines that are broken, and then they're going to fly it into deep space. The problem is they fly into deep space and the engines kind of crash out, and then the bad guys, or the Empire, a few of them have come back to claim this Star Destroyer. Now remember, this Star Destroyer is almost entirely empty of bag. This was a prototype that was in a orbital shipyard, and it was stolen by the rebels. It has not even a skeleton crew. There's some droids maybe around, and they got out of there with it. The unfortunate thing is now they've stolen it. It's in deep space. The Empire came back. They killed everybody except yours truly. So now my character's name is Dar Hagen. So his first name is Dar. We'll just call him Dar. Dar is a Zabrak. That's the Darth Maul species with the sharp bones on his skull and his head. I am alone on a Star Destroyer when the Empire sends a couple of ships to start trying to repair this Star Destroyer and take it back. But they don't know that I'm somewhere in this ship. Parts of this ship aren't even finished. Parts of this the ship doesn't even have any kind of life support. So my character has to be careful where he goes. Wherever I go, I could suddenly asphyxiate. I could be sucked into outer space. I could implode because I'm in vacuum. But then some places they've got life support, but they don't have enough heating yet, enough insulation. So maybe it's really cold in these places. So this Star Destroyer is not completely finished. My character is running around inside. I'm trying not to die. And I'm trying to do one last thing because I'm so mad they killed my friends. I've decided, like John McClane in Die Hard, I'm taking these guys out. They're not going to take this Star Destroyer, and because it's a prototype that's going to be used to devastation. It's going to help them bring terrible destruction to other planets, and they just killed all my friends. Yippee Ki-yay, mother kriffers. And if you guys don't get that reference, kriff is the F word in the Star Wars universe. If you haven't picked up on that from some of the shows or video games or books, if you've ever read them. So with that out of the way, let us begin. So my character, as we begin in media res, is kind of looking up and around. His friends have been blasted to pieces. I was in the engine room trying to fix something. They think they've come and they've killed everyone, and they've swept a decent amount of the Star Destroyer. But a Star Destroyer is like a mile long. It's a huge thing, or close to it. They don't know that I hid in one of the coolant systems. I quickly put on a vacuum suit, and I crawled through these giant tubes filled with coolant that would usually freeze a human body, or any kind of organic body, to death. And it's getting through to my suit. And so I come crawling out, and I am just crawling out, trying my best to get to get safety. And the suit is crackling because it's like liquid nitrogen kind of is all over me, and it's starting to freeze the suit and get through to me and cause burn to my flesh. So I got to pull this thing off. I've got to pull this thing off really quickly. And so you see over here, I have what's called moves. Moves are how you move through this game. It's how you kind of figure out what you're going to do next. So right now, I'm going to use the move called Face Danger. And you can see right now, Face Danger says when you attempt something risky or react to an imminent threat, you envision your action and you roll. If you act with, and it has a list of things here. So if I'm going to use my expertise or wits or my speed or agility, I'm going to use edge or wits. I think I'm going to have to use my wits to try to grab tools around me. Like I'm trying to grab like a hydro spanner. I'm trying to grab like a wrench and chisel the ice off and peel this before it can freeze completely through and turn me into like a frozen statue. I've got to get this suit off of me. So how do we do that? We go over here to roll some dice. So I pick wits. And do I have any adds? Well, it says I gain +1 to all survival checks, as well as any to endure stress, to withstand cold, heat, torment, or pain. I'm not withstanding the cold yet because I haven't failed at this yet. If I fail, then maybe I'll have to use that. What do we got down here? Blade Master, Devotant, Infiltrator, Starship. None of that helps me. So right now, this is a raw, just roll of wits. Okay, so I'm rolling wits, and we roll. The first roll of a game is literally the worst thing that can happen. Not only a miss with a match, but I rolled 2 10s. In this game, if you ever roll 2 10s, it's considered not just a critical failure, but kind of the worst possible thing that can happen. So what I'm gonna do is make this double trouble. I'm gonna have to endure an injury. I'm just gonna call it from like severe cold burn. I'm gonna take damage. And then also, I'm going to have to deal with something from one of the oracles. So one of the oracles I'm going to roll from is right here. And it is, see the core. I'm going to roll action and theme. Focus, warning. I think there's a droid in here. And I'm going to pick hey, you know what? Let's pick a random droid from one of these droid, the droid type oracle that I have here. So I'm gonna pick a droid. Let's just roll a 2D100s, 7 and a 7. Okay, 77. Wow, that makes sense. There is a battle droid in here with me, an old battle droid that suddenly swivels its head around and sees me. And its eyes sort of iris onto me. And it is giving me a warning. It starts shouting, warning, warning. You know, you are in violation of being in this area. You are not allowed to be in this area. And now suddenly I have to peel off this suit while enduring this pain, while more than likely this battle droid that was just kind of in here from before, it was like we thought it was deactivated, it's now calling for stormtroopers to come. So now first, though, before I deal with that, I need to deal with the fact that I am having to deal with some pain here. Endure harm. So endure harm. I get a +1. I do get a +1. This is a endure harm, and it says here when you face physical injury, fatigue, or illness, you suffer -1 health. For minor harm, I'm going to say this is pretty serious harm. This is -2 if I fail. So yeah, I have to roll here. I'm going to roll. Let's see. Okay, when you face physical injury, your health is equal to any. Then if I roll health or iron. Well, obviously I'm going to roll my health, so that's going to give me. It's going to give me a lot more, and then I'm going to roll this here. Okay, now I got a strong hit with not a match, but I got a strong hit. On a strong hit, choose one. I shake it off and I take +1 health. I'm gonna shake it. I'm gonna shake it off, or I can embrace the pain and take +1 momentum. Momentum is good in this game. You really, really want to build up momentum. It helps you with future rolls. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna take the -2 pain. Screw it. Because I got a strong hit, but I didn't get a strong hit with a match. I'm going to take, oof, that sucks, but I'm taking 2 hits, so I'm down from 5 health to 3. But I am getting +1 momentum. I may need that momentum. I got to build momentum so that later during like a key moment in the mission, I will be able to pull off a really good roll. Okay, so now though this thing is yelling, it's yelling like help, help. It's for other stormtroopers to come. It's warning, warning, calling all agents, call all troopers to section 37, H148K, and so they're on their way. So now I still have to peel this thing off. I have to face danger again, and just hope that I don't totally screw the pooch again. Okay, that's a weak hit. And I think a weak hit, what it says is, I succeed but not without a cost. I make a suffer move -1. I'm going to say minus supply. So you start the game with 5 supply, I'm down to 4. So my character is trying to find any way to get out of the suit, and I have to take out like something out of my toolkit that I brought with me, and I'm having to reach inside my suit to get it. And unfortunately that thing is kind of half frozen too. And I start smashing to rip the suit off of me. I get it off, but then I lose the tool. So I'm down 1 supply. But I am free now, and now I have to do a completely separate face danger. I got to run. If I fail this run, I'm going to go ahead and call it that I'm going to be in combat, because the stormtroopers are going to arrive after they've heard this battle droid calling for help. So here is me doing, I guess this is speed. And I suck at speed. That's edge. I really, really suck at edge. Starting off the game really great here, guys. Oh, look at that, a strong hit. Okay, on a strong hit, you were successful. Take +1 momentum. Okay, so my Zabrak, he rips off the helmet. He rips off, and he goes running. He goes tearing down out through the corridor, but the stormtroopers are arriving. Now, here's the part that I excel at. I'm an infiltrator. And I have 2 in shadow, which ain't bad. So now I'm going to start creeping around the Star Destroyer, and I'm going to start trying to evade them. And I think my character needs to get a little bit, get his bearings. So first of all, I'm going to get my bearings, I'm going to say, through another face danger using shadow. And here's what I'm going to do. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm going to go over here to challenges. So my challenge right now, I have set to I put that on epic. I'm going to put it on extreme. Right now, my goal is to either make the reactor go off and blow up and destroy this entire thing, this entire prototype Star Destroyer, because it's better destroyed than them have it in their hands. It's either that, or I'm going to take out the stormtroopers and take this Star Destroyer, somehow find a way to override all of its systems and take this thing home to the rebellion. Or I'm going to take it to Kashyyyk as a present for Life Day to make this more holiday themed. I'm going to take it home for the Wookiees, and I'm going to say the Wookiees are expecting me. And I'm going to pick a random name, a random Star Wars name from my cards here. Oh, wow, that one sounds very much like a Wookiee. Rebduchaluk is how you pronounce it. Rebduchaluk. I'm going to say, for short, we call him Cha. He's a Wookiee named Cha, and he's waiting for me back on Kashyyyk. And I was supposed to return. I told him, hey, man, if we do a flashback real quick, basically it was like a scene where I told him, hey, man, I'll be back. My old rebel friends, they want me to come up in orbit and check out this. They said they got something up there they need me to see. But once I got up there, I realized they had stolen a prototype Star Destroyer. I didn't realize that was going to happen. So now I am roped in with the rebellion. I've been roped into their BS, and now I've got to go running around the Star Destroyer, and I've got to find a way to communicate back to Cha to try and get some help from the Wookiees. Some of those who would be sympathetic to the rebellion. I need them to come help me. They need to come help me just take out these stormtroopers and get rid of and blow this thing up, or take this Star Destroyer back to Kashyyyk to be re-outfitted as a vessel to be used for the rebellion against the Empire. will turn their own weapons against them, kind of thing. So my guy is creeping along in the corridor. It's very cold. Some of the lights are powered down. They weren't even installed yet. I move down dark corridors. In the distance, I can hear little voices just saying, hey, I think he went this way. And I am shivering. And I'm looking at the parts of my arm that got, like a intense cold burn from wearing that suit that I had to peel off. It maybe peeled off some of my skin. And I'm having to wrap it up with what I've got. I've kind of got a bare basic medical kit. And I creep into another room and I open it and I walk inside and I find nothing helpful. And I walk into another one and I'm going to do some oracles right here. So to kind of give you an idea of how this works, these oracles can help you find things that are specific to a planet or a starship. So if I go over here to starship, for instance, there's like a name, class, fleet, first look, mission. But I can also go over here to settlement and use settlement. You can actually use some of this stuff to kind of tell you like maybe whereabouts you are, like what kind of what kind of area you've come to. For instance, I could put on first look, and it says within or near some kind of vault, so it's like it can give me ideas about where I'm going, and things like that. Then you have some down here that are miscellaneous, story complication, story clue, things like that to kind of help you. Location theme, so I can like a feature, like what's a feature. So I'm going to say that I just came into an area that says it's corrupted or warped environment. I think I came into a place that has been warped because of when the rebels stole this thing, there were still like clasps that kept it connected to the main superstructure of the orbital space station that was building it. And I think it tore off pieces of the hull. So I come to areas that are sealed off by like emergency doors, but if I go beyond them, I'll be effectively floating in outer space. Do you see what I'm saying? That they haven't been pressurized. There's no atmosphere. And so my character is kind of panicking. He's kind of panicking, and he's going to start a little search. And I'm going to look around to gather info. Before I really creep around, I'm going to do a gather information. So gather information is one of the major roles you do in the game to figure out where you're going to go, what you should even be doing. And so it says here, when you search for clues, conduct an investigation, analyze evidence, or do research, you roll plus wits. So I'm just going to roll a baseline wits here. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lean on one of my assets. And my asset has me as a devotant, more or less, to the Force. I'm Force sensitive, and I was once a Padawan, but I was very young, like 5 or 6 years old when the Jedi Temple fell. So, and I'm like, say my character's like, 23 now or something, or 25. So I've not had any training in a long time, but that latent ability somewhat to use the Force is still there. So my ability here says when you worship a god, when you worship a god or an entity or a power, you give it a name. In this case, the Force. Then when you secure an advantage or gain ground by calling on it for guidance, you add that linked stat. So in my case, it's heart. So heart is +3 for me. So I'm going to first, before I gather information, matter of fact, I'm going to secure an advantage. It says, when you assess a situation, make preparations, or attempt to gain leverage, envision your action and roll. If you act with observation, you would use wits. If you act with like resolve, command, sociability, you would use heart, so on and so forth. I'm going to reach out with the Force. And so it's wits, but since I've got the Force on my side, the Force is with me, hopefully, I get a +3. Actually, no, sorry. I roll with that stat. I roll heart for that stat, and now I roll to see, and I got a strong hit. So, if you see there, it says on a hit, on a hit you succeed. On a strong hit, I can take both of these options, which is great. So I'm going to take 2 momentum plus I get a +1 on my next move. So what that looks like is I take these 2 momentum up here, boop, boop, that puts me at 6 momentum, and I'm gonna get a +1 on my gather information here. But let's flavor this a little bit, shall we? What did I see? Let's do action and theme. What did I see? Or descriptor focus. Let's do that. Deadly fleet. Oh, okay. My character bundled in, reached out to the forest for guidance, for some way to find my way around this place. This is great. I think this works out great. I go around the corner, and I open up a door, fearful that it too might be depressurized. But then I smell the air inside. I can feel that it's pressurized. It's cold in here. The lights are dim, but there's a hologram flickering on and off in the corner. And when I go over there, I realize that when the ship left, whatever droid or maintenance person was working in here left this on. And I see a fleet of other ships like this one, the one that I'm this prototype Star Destroyer. And so it says the prompt there was Deadly Fleet. So I'm seeing a fleet of this very Star Destroyer. I'm seeing a fleet of it. Sort of like the plans, like the schematics of each ship. So I'm going to use that in my gather info right now to then, so that flavors my gather information. To now gather information, I'm going to get a +1 to it. So wits, +1. And now I'm going to roll, hopefully something good. Okay, it's a weak hit. Now, so on a weak hit, the information provides a new insight, but also complicates your quest. Envision what you discover, then take 1 momentum. Okay, so I get the 1 momentum, but I now have to envision. This may take a series of rolls on the oracles. What do I envision that helps me, but also complicates my quest? I'm going to roll on the action and theme. Strengthen phenomenon. Strengthen phenomenon. Okay. I think that my character senses the phenomenon to me means something in the Force. This is bad news for me. I think this complicates it. I sense a tremor in the Force. Now, I'm such a novice, and I was never fully trained, that my character doesn't fully know exactly where this person is, but I can feel a dark side user or the dark side of the Force swirling. And what goes through my character's mind is, oh no, oh Kriff, is that an Inquisitor? Or is it Darth Vader somewhere on this Star Destroyer looking for me? I've got to start. Okay, so that gives me a little bit, that complicates it. I felt it right as I was looking at the schematics. And what helps me about that, and let's just look here. I'm gonna pull up a few things here that can help me out on these cards. I'm using these cards on the Star Wars GM's Apprentice. Oh, a stranger enters. But this part's going to be helpful. This part's going to be helpful. A stranger enters. So, what do we say that we're just going to roll here on the Star Wars Oracle? It's double-sided. It's a card, like I said, that I made as a module for turning Starforged into a Star Wars game. I'm going to roll a D100. 82. 82 is a Bith. So a Bith, that's a very unusual type of alien in Star Wars. They're the ones that they have large craniums, and it's hard to explain them if you haven't seen a picture of them. But they're like they're part of the band on the Cantina band in the first Star Wars movie. The Cantina band on Mos Eisley. So the Bith comes stumbling in, and here's what I think it's helpful about it. He's a Bith, and almost all Imperials, pretty much all Imperials, are humans. because they're kind of speciest, right? They're kind of against other species. They're kind of a human-centric government. So that means this Bith was one of my guys. He's one of the rebels that I came up here with. I thought he was dead, but he comes blundering in, and I think the reason it only helps me a little is he's dying. And I rush over to him and I grab him, and I'm going to give him a name, and his name shall be Tahiro. Tahiro, I run over to Tahiro and I grab him, and he falls in my arms, and I'm breathing heavily, and he's like, I didn't even see it coming, and he's saying, I didn't even see it coming. They got me, and he's basically telling me, you've got to do so. You've got to get this ship back to the rebels. And I tell him, I can't. I'm one man. And he says, then you've got to do so. You've got to blow the reactor. You can't let them have this prototype back. And he's dying in my arms, essentially. And as he dies, he gives me a piece of information. And this is the information that's going to be helpful. What information? I may roll on all four here. Fragile relic and distract you. Oh. Ha. This is how he helps me. He tells me that he just came from a part of this ship that was decked out for an Inquisitor's room. He blundered into, on his way here, he blundered into a room that in there there's an Inquisitor. Or sorry, there's an Inquisitor's room that's like, it was decked out. It had like symbols on the wall, and it was made for like rituals or something. And he saw, and behind a metal case of transparent steel, and you could see through it, but it was locked, like a sort of a glass safe, but made out of transparent steel. For those of you who don't know, Star Wars, transparent steel is very, very strong, transparent steel, basically. And he says behind it, there is a lightsaber. And he tells me that would help me get through any door in this place. I can just cut a hole in the wall. Like nothing in this place can stand up to a lightsaber. And if I've got to get to the engine room, and if I've got to move around this place, he tells me that would be a tool that would help me. And he also, because I was looking at that map, and I saw that map, the schematics, he's able to point that out to me. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to challenges. And I'm going to go ahead and say that counts as a tick for me moving towards my goal of either blowing this ship up or taking out the stormtroopers and taking this home. So you see I put a little tick on it. This is an extreme sort of quest here. That's one tick out of many that I've got to do to kind of get through this quest. So he dies in my arms, and I immediately realize that I have got to get to that weapon, because I have no weapon on me right now. I came up here maybe to help them do something, but I didn't plan on fighting squadrons of stormtroopers. There may be TIE fighters showing up at any moment. My character, I don't know. And I'm pretty certain there's a dark side force user somewhere on this ship. I can sense them. So my character, I'm going to use a little stealth roll here, using my ability at infiltration. So if you look at my card over here, so let's look at, there's the face danger. I have a thing called infiltrator. It says when you make a move to break into a secure site, infiltrate a protected area, or hack or manipulate a secure system, I add +1. I take +1 momentum on a hit. On a strong hit with a match, I would access is easier than I expected, and I take another +1 momentum. So I can do all this next bit in this next roll. So here I am using Shadow. I get a +1, and I'm going to roll. You got to be kidding me. Another miss with a match. Okay. So if I'm sneaking around, I think, okay, let's go to action and theme again. I'm going to clear it all. What happens here? Persevere, prize. Okay. I think that because I found that battle droid before, Remember, I said this Star Destroyer was a prototype. It's bad. Some of the hull is missing. It's not even finished. I think that there was still a couple of engineers that were not killed, like an Imperial engineer or mechanic, and he has persevered, and he sees this ship as his prize. That's where I'm taking persevere and prize there. He sees it as like his baby, and he's going to be danged if he's going to see me if he's going to see me steal it. He comes right around the side there, and we basically are immediately involved in some kind of showdown. I'm going to see what happens. We're actually going to do, you know what? Let's do a moves here, and let's test out. Let's ask the Oracle. Let's ask the Oracle. Do I think this guy is armed? I think since he's a mechanic, I think it's a small chance. So it's a yes or no question. Is he armed with like a blaster or a special weapon? And the answer is no. Okay, I've got my answer. So we're both unarmed. He is a mechanic. I'm an infiltrator who's pretty good with a blade. I have a blade on me, but no blaster, which means I've got to get in close. I have to silence this guy, but I would prefer if I can take him out really quickly and get some information from him. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a big chance here. I'm going to take a big chance because I have 7 momentum, and that's pretty good. I'm going to do something here in this game called, instead of doing you can do 2 kinds of ways of doing combat. You can engage in the combat, and it's like turn for turn. You do your thing, you roll, or you can do battle. And this is if you want to keep the action moving, but you got to be careful with it because you can screw yourself here. But battle is when you fight a battle and it happens in a blur. Envision your objective and roll. If you primarily, and it's got a list here, if I fight at range, I use edge. If I try to battle like leadership, like commanding some companions, I would use heart. In this, I have to use pure iron. Pure iron, which is, I'm not bad at. I'm going to have to fight this guy. And here's what's the problem. If I'm defeated, I get 1 chance at this roll. If I'm defeated, it says you were defeated and the objective is lost. You can pay the price. Now, it doesn't mean the game is over. It just means he's going to take me captive. And then you get different rewards if you get a strong hit or a weak hit here. So wish me luck here, guys. I'm rushing at this guy. I've got like a blade out, and I'm using the martial art. Let's say in Star Wars, there's a martial art called Terraskasi. I'm gonna rush in this guy with like a reverse blade, like a karambit type of blade, and I'm gonna go to town on him with using Terraskasi. I want to subdue him because I want to get some information from him. I'd prefer not to kill him, so I'm gonna go for it. And okay, I got a miss with I got a miss, but remember, I have 7 momentum. This is what you save it for, guys. I hate to do it, but I mean that's what I saved it for. So when you burn momentum, you burn it back to your reset, which is 2, typically. If I start suffering injuries, then my reset value can be 1, 0, -1, -2. But right now, I just reset my value back to 2. So now it becomes a strong hit. On a strong hit, you achieve your objective unconditionally. You and your allies or anybody who had joined the battle, you gain +2 momentum. So I gained 2 momentum just for getting a strong hit in that battle. So it's not too bad. I basically traded 7 momentum for 4 momentum, if you think about it. So I rush in. This guy's got like maybe he's got no weapon, but he rushes at me. He tries to pick up some scrap piece of metal on the floor. I disarm it. I punch him. I do like a some kind of cool sweeping, reaping takedown. Throw him on the ground, and I pin him. And I put a hand over his mouth, and I put the blade to his throat, and I go shh. And he's looking up at me all terrified because I got him pinned, like I'm in like a a jujitsu like mount position, right? And I've got that knife against his throat. And I take this opportunity to listen. Did our skirmish get heard? I don't think so, because I got a strong hit, which means it kind of goes your way. We didn't make enough noise for anyone to hear us. However, he may be. He has a comm link on him. I'm going to search him for a comm link. I'm going to search him for anything useful. I bet this guy has a comm link on him. But let's say do I have enough time to do? I'm just going to do it really quick. A miss. On a miss, your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Pay the price. Okay. So while gathering information, unfortunately, something happened that made it where I have to pay the price. I'm going to go ahead and pay the price. I'm going to use the pay the price oracle here. Your equipment or vehicle malfunctions. Okay, I take it to mean that he knocks away my blade, which sucks. I'm using equipment there. He says your equipment or vehicle. I don't have my vehicle right now. He knocked away my equipment. My only equipment really that I've got that's useful right now that I'm using against him is my blade. He knocks away my blade, so my blade master is not going to be any good until I can get my blade back or whatever. But he's still pinned down. I just couldn't. He took advantage while I was patting him down. So now he's looking kind of brave because I don't have a blade to his throat anymore. So now what I'm going to do is try to do like a chokehold kind of thing and just tell him. I'm going to try to threaten him. I'm going to tell him that if he doesn't start, I'm going to use compel. I'm going to use compel. Threaten or incite, you use iron. I'm going to tell him that if you don't help me out here, if you don't do what I say, this is going to end badly for you. And I want to glare in his eyes, give him that, just vicious snarl, and basically let him know that I can choke him to death without the blade. I don't need that blade. So, does he believe me? Okay, I got a strong hit. On a strong hit, they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions. Take +1 momentum. So he calms down enough that he's not going to yell. He's not going to fight back anymore. But I think I wasted too much time. I can't do a pat down right now. I tell him I hear stormtroopers maybe in the distance. Section 6, is that clear? And stormtroopers are running all over this place trying to secure it. It's like I said, it's a huge, mostly empty ship with a few maintenance droids left. The corridors are dark. The lights are not working. This guy and me and this Imperial mechanic can barely see each other in the dark. There's a few lights coming from a neighboring room. And I basically lift him off his feet. I gather my blade back up. And he's compelled to do what I want. And we push him along. As we go along, I want to attempt again to infiltrate. To my infiltration. Shadow +1. And that's a weak hit. So, on a weak hit, when you face danger, as you can see, it says there, on a weak hit, you succeed, but not without a cost. You make a suffer move -1. I think it makes sense that I'm -1 spirit here. And then I'm going to try to endure that stress. So, to endure stress, you go down here, you endure stress, and I don't get a +1 to this kind of endure stress because it's not against cold or torment or pain. This is coming from the fact that my character is stressed out. I just saw all my friends killed. I'm stuck. I'm doing a die hard on a Star Destroyer alone with no help, and I can't even get. I've got to find something. So I'm having this guy lead me, come with me as I go try to find that lightsaber that my dying friend Tahiro told me about. Now it says so I've got to face stress here. I took a -1. I can roll plus spirit or heart. I'm going to choose to roll plus spirit and just hope that I pass. Oh, okay. I got a strong hit with a match. It says on a strong hit, choose 1. I'm going to take +1 momentum. I could take spirit back, but I want the momentum. But it's a match. In this game, if you get a strong hit with a match, instead as opposed to a strong like a miss with a match, something really great happens. Here's what I think happens. I'm going to flavor it a little bit with a roll up here on the Oracle, but I think we get there no problem. We're sneaking through. I'm stressed out. We make it through, and I endure a bit of stress, but we get there while sneaking, and this is going to flavor secure spirit. Oh man. Oh man. Do you know what I think happens here? Oh man. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it. I got a strong hit with a match, guys. And I got it while enduring stress, while sneaking through and trying to find something beneficial. I'm blending the fiction. Remember earlier that I said that I sense a dark side user is on this ship? Guys, I think secure spirit means something from the other side. The good force, the good side, the light side of the force that balances out the evil, that's always there to fight against evil. That light side of the force is there to call to me. And I don't even know who it is. It's not, maybe not even like a canon, not Obi-Wan's ghost, it's no Jedi that I know. Maybe my old master. I won't know. It's a mystery. So look what I'm going to do. This is something I'm going to make temporary. I'm going to go to assets, and I'm just going to give myself one of the companion assets, and I'm going to make it temporary. So like in this game, you buy assets, right? 3 XP lets you buy a new asset. 1 XP lets you upgrade that asset. But there are things that sometimes make sense narratively, and this is sort of a house rule, but me and my friends kind of like it. You can temporarily take on an asset. As long as it doesn't break the game or anything, as long as it makes sense. So, I'm going way down here to companion. And I'm going to just pick one of these. I might even use Void Glider, Bonded. I'm going to use, even though it doesn't, I'm going to use Sidekick. What does that say? Your sidekick has a helpful expertise. When you make a move outside of a fight, directly aided by their expertise, you may re-roll your action die if its value is less than your sidekick's health. Oh, okay. So I pick a sidekick, and I choose their expertise. So watch what happens when I add this. So I just added that. This is a great module, by the way. I don't know who made this, Stargazer. This is fantastic. So I give them a name and expertise. What's their expertise? I'm going to go down here to the character oracle, and I'm going to quickly roll on that. And it says roll and gold. Now I'm going to roll on this until something makes sense. So if I roll mechanic, that may not make sense. Maybe there's a Jedi mechanic or some spirit that is from the Force or some guiding light from but I'm going to roll until something makes sense to the fiction. A thief? Whoa, that's... Oh, what about a sneaky Jedi? What about a really sneaky Jedi that gives me a heads up? That's good. I'm going to roll a couple more times. Diplomat. A thief has come up twice. You know what I'm going to say? I'm not going to give this thing... I'm going to put Force Spirit, and it speaks to me. I'm just going to call it... It's a female voice. A female voice reaching out through the Force. And I can barely make out the words, but I get more of a warm feeling guiding me and letting me know that whoever this person is, you know what, this is fantastic. There's a dark side user, I've already said, an Inquisitor somewhere on this ship. They're looking for me. This Force Spirit is like a Jedi or maybe a very powerful Padawan that was killed. And I immediately feel a connection. This spirit is not vengeful, but this spirit is a spirit of balance. It has become one with the Force, and it is trying to undermine at all costs. It is trying to undermine the dark side of the one who killed it. So it's almost like a good haunting. For me, It's a good, this spirit haunts the Inquisitor that is here to kill me. So it's a good haunting. So Force spirit, and I'm going to put in parentheses here, this Force spirit was good at like infiltration like me. I'm going to say this person gives me, let's say Force spirit, I'm going to say for stealth and subterfuge, it gives me help. When you make a move outside of a fight directly aided by their expertise, you may re-roll your action die if its value is less than your sidekick's health. So I think this sidekick can take damage. She's a Force spirit, but I'm taking damage to mean she can be dispelled by the dark side. If this Inquisitor becomes aware that she's helping me, that his nemesis that he killed, her spirit is helping me, the Inquisitor will find some way to dispel her. So she's got a health bar there. So that's what that is. She's not a permanent asset. If I was going to play this campaign very long, she's not a permanent asset. She can go away at any time. Okay, so that's really exciting. My character suddenly stops and looks around, and I'm having like a telepathic conversation with a dead Jedi or Padawan, and I feel that she's here to help me, and I can feel that she was killed by the Inquisitor. Now the mechanic who I've taken prisoner, I'm going to look at his name tag. His name is Hal. So I put him in, I take him to this room that we're going to, and we sneak there and find the room that my dead friend told me where the lightsaber is. And I say, okay, Hal. And since I got a good compel before, he's going to help me. He's going to go along with me. And I say, okay, Hal, I'm going to need your help. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk to this guy, and I'm going to see if there's some way he will help me in opening up this case that I see. I walk into a room that was obvious, just like my friend said, this is made. There's like a meditation chamber in the corner. There's a sensory deprivation chamber. There's a meditation, like an area on the ground meant for rituals and stuff. And I see this lightsaber. So this was going to be some high-ranking officer's lightsaber, which tells me it's probably going to be a red lightsaber, right? Because it was meant for a bad guy. But first things first, I've got to get that lightsaber. So I tell him, all right, you're going to help me get in it. So I got to compel before, so he's going to help me. He's going to say yes to this. You're going to help me, right? And he just kind of nods, yeah. I say, okay, Hal, so let's get to work. So I've got to do some slicing here. So, lucky me, I now have a shadow that is going to let me re-roll my action die as long as it does not exceed like their health or whatever it is. And I get a +1 for infiltration when it comes to hacking, or in the Star Wars universe, they call it slicing computers. I'm going to slice a computer here, and look at that, I got a strong hit. I did that on for a face danger, essentially. I did a face danger. And I know on face danger, it says I successful, and I take +1 momentum. The door slides open. I've sliced open this thing. He helped me, the engineer. I'm going to say he has a slicing kit. He's an engineer. I'm just going to, because it just makes sense. We sliced into this thing. He helped me. He helped me slice the computer code. I take the slicing kit from him and I put it like in my pocket and I shove him against the wall. And then I open up the safe and I take out, I'm gonna say, what does this lightsaber look like? I just want a little bit of flavor here. Let's go for a descriptor. And I'll keep rolling until something makes sense, because something may not make sense. Let's see, rich and ancient. Oh, I think this is an ancient lightsaber made out of like a dead crate dragon's bones. So instead of a metal lightsaber, this is made, the outside actual casing is made out of like really hard, dense crate dragon. Oh, it's so gnarly. It's like heavy metal, right? It's got like almost like it's sharp spots where the parts of the bone, so you could cut with it too. And it is ancient, and it said rich. I think there's a jewel. It's bejeweled with some kind of weird, not just a kyber crystal. And this thing, when I flick it on, it turns on, and it scares Hal, the engineer, the mechanic. He jumps back because the blade is red, blood red, like it's a Sith saber. And I wave it around. I've never held one in my hand because I was very young as a Padawan, like 4 or 5 years old, when Order 66 happened and all the Jedi were killed. I never got to really use. I learned how to use blades, but not. I never held one of these things, and I think my character is suddenly flooded with emotion because Jedi were taught to suppress their emotions, but he was never made a full-fledged Jedi, so he never controlled all that. And this is like more than nostalgia. He vaguely remembers his master, which I'm going to give a name right now. Master Cadwin. Master Cadwin was my character's master, and I suddenly remember, and I've got on these cards here, there's some random species, so I'm just going to draw here. Cadwin was a Wookiee. That makes sense. That's why I have an affinity for going to Kashyyyk for Life Day. It all makes sense. It's as if the Force guided this deck of cards to help me tell this story. Happy holidays, everybody. So now I've got this lightsaber, a red lightsaber, and I flick it off and I attach it to my side. And my friends, I'm going to count that as part 2 or the next step there. I have 2 ticks now. I have made 2 pieces of progress. I've got a schematic of the entire ship. I have a lightsaber that helps me get around. And I even have a hostage here that for the moment, he's helped me a little bit. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to this guy. I'm going to close the door and I'm going to have a conversation with him. And I'm going to use the fiction here. I think I can give myself a +1. I can take it. I've taken some hits, a lot of misses with matches. I've done pretty good getting this lightsaber, and I've already established in the fiction that he's afraid of that lightsaber when I turned it on. It's scary, and I've already scared the crap out of him by putting a blade to his neck. I think I can give myself a +1 this time when I gather information from him. I'm either going to do it through a gather info or compel. And when you search for clues, conduct an investigation. Okay, instead I'm going to do compel because I think it makes sense. I'm now going to scare him into telling me how many. I want to know everything. Who's on this ship? How many people? What's the name of the Inquisitor? Is it just one Inquisitor? I want to see how much information I can get out of him. I'm going to take a +1. And I got a weak hit. As above, but their agreement comes with a demand or complication. Envision their counteroffer. I think it's pretty simple. He basically says, if I tell you, will you let me go? Now, here's the complication. I'm going to tell him yes. I don't really plan to let this guy go, not yet. So in a minute, he may get mad at me after he tells me this stuff. And then he gets mad when I don't immediately release him. I don't lie to him. I'll let you go. But then in parentheses, unspoken is when I'm done with you. But he doesn't know that. I just go, yeah, sure. I'll let you go. So I'm going to go through here and make just a couple of little rolls. What important information does he tell me? Action and theme, move, weapon. I think this is very obvious. They were going to move this weapon. And guys, on this handy-dandy cards I made that are, like I said, the Star Wars version of the GM's Apprentice, they have locations on the back of them. So if you need a random Star Wars planet, there they are. And I just drew Muna Linst. Munilensed is where the species, the Munes, are from. You only really see them in the movies. In I believe Revenge of the Sith is about the only place. They have tall heads. Not to be confused with Ki-adi-Mundi's species. They've got tall heads, and they're called the Munes, and they run the intergalactic banking clan. This guy, they're moving the weapon. They're moving the weapon to Munilensed. So some of these troopers are not just stormtroopers. Some of them are private security from the Mune home world. Okay. Now that's one thing he knows. That's what this ship was being built for. I'm gonna do one last roll, and then we can move on. I'm going to ask the Oracle. Since I think it's likely he will tell me the truth about the Inquisitor if he knows about it. But I'm going to roll it's unlikely that he knows the Inquisitor's name or whatever. Does this guy even know who the Inquisitor would be that's on this ship and why they're here? Like, how did he know where it was at? Does he know anything about the Inquisitor? No, he doesn't, which doesn't surprise me. Does he know how to get to the main engine room? I'm going to say almost certain because he's a mechanic. Yes, of course he does. He knows how to get to the main engine room. Does he know how to get to all the other rooms, like where tractor beams are controlled and where navigation and thrusters, reverse thrusters, where all of that is controlled, the hyperdrive, the hyperdrive itself? Does he know where all this is? Yes, he does. This guy, I had the schematics sort of somewhat in my head, and I kind of know what Star Destroyers look like. My character's seen them before. I was briefly in the Rebellion years ago. I quit and got out because it was too much. But now between me and this guy, we know where to go. Now here's what's going to determine something pretty big. I'm going to compel this guy for the time being. This is risky. I'm going to try to compel him to work with me. Not just out of fear, although that's probably what it is. I'm going to try to appeal to him. So that means I've got to do something like, I got to roll heart. Now I'm really good at that. I'm actually very good at that. And I'm going to reach out with a force. I'm going to reach out with a force using heart to first see if I can gain an advantage. Okay, I gain an advantage. So on a weak hit, or I secured an advantage, on a weak hit, I think I just get to choose one. On a weak hit, you choose one, yeah. I'm going to take the 2 momentum. So I'm up to 9. I'm almost maxed out on momentum. Glad to hear that. Glad to see it. Love it. Now I'm going to do compel. I'm going to draw upon so I've secured the advantage to draw on the force to secure an advantage. Now here's what is this advantage? I'm going to roll an oracle again. What is the advantage? Summon pride. Makes perfect sense. I'm trying to use the force not to do necessarily a Jedi mind trick, although I might have to. I don't really have that ability too much, but I could maybe use the force somewhat in this force spirit that's with me. I want this guy to feel like I'm his friend. He doesn't have to like me or love me, and he doesn't have to even want to be a part of the rebellion. He's an Imperial engineer. But if I can convince him that he doesn't have to be loyal to the Empire, that he can just come with me, and all I need is just to him help me out a little, then I can let him go. And that may tick him off because I already kind of promised him I was going to let him go after he helped me out with some information right here. So I got to use heart, and I got to charm him, and I have a miss, which means I have enough momentum that I can turn that into a strong hit. I'm going to do it. All right. It's a strong hit. On a strong hit, they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions. Take +1 momentum. So here's what I feel like happened. I drew on the force to find some of the emotions in him that I could draw upon. And I think this guy, and I'm drawing here again from just some random planets that makes sense. This guy was born on Nal Hutta, which is one of the Hut, like the Hut home world or whatever. And he was raised in just total crap, but somehow he got out of the Outer Rim and went to university and became an engineer. And the Imperials gave him this job to help work on this Star Destroyer, this prototype. And he has decided that he will do it because he's loyal, because you know what, they paid him pretty good, better than the Hutts ever did, and he's glad to be out of the Outer Rim. But now what I appeal to is that part of him that notices that the Empire, yeah, you're making good money, dude, but you see how terrible they are. You see what they tried to do with the Death Star, what they did do with the Death Star. And he's like, yeah, and I make a connection with Hal. And so I'm going to, now that I've compelled, I think I have a chance. Should I do it? Should I make a connection with him? I could do it. Okay, real quick. I'm going to try to draw on the Force again, and I got to miss with a match for securing advantage. What I'm going to say that means is the Force for the moment is cut off to me. For the moment, I can't speak to that Force spirit. I feel her cut off. I tried to reach out to the Force, but now if I'm going to make a connection with this guy, with Hal, I can't. I can't use the Force. So I am, however, going to try to make a connection. Oh, I got a weak hit. So, okay, you make a connection. You give them a role and a rank. Whenever your connection aids you on a move closely associated with a roll, add +1 and take 1 momentum on a hit. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. But it says it's a weak hit, so it comes with a complication or cost. So let's go over here to campaign. And I can take, there's truths, there's factions, there's all this different stuff, Exodus communities, all this stuff. Where is, it's challenges. It's challenges. So I go down here to progress. I'm going to make this guy a troublesome or dangerous. We'll just say troublesome for now. He is, I'm going to put Hal, the Imperial Mechanic. And I get a +1 to mechanics related rolls if he's around, and I take +1 momentum on a hit when he's around, and I use him for those reasons. So he gives me a +1 to anything like machine related, like if I have to slice into things, if I have to repair something, if I have to like rig some way to wedge open a door using mechanical objects in my environment, Hal can help me. He is now a reluctant companion, but he can help me now. So see how in this game you make the game, you try to build NPCs and gather them around you so you can go further and do more. And that's it. So we're now going to move on. He's agreed to help me. And I kind of do one of those check outside the door, look down the dark corridor. I don't hear any stormtroopers at the moment. He and I seem to be in the clear. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a move now. And I'm going to say, I would much rather give this to the Wookiees. My plan A is to get this ship to the Wookiees, with or without the stormtroopers. If the Wookiees can come up and help me, that would be awesome. So there's 2 thoughts I have before destroying it. I would rather take this thing hostage, and I need the Wookiees on Kashyyyk to help me. The problem is we've flown out to deep space. When my friends brought me to this ship, they flew us away from Kashyyyk, just kind of be out here in deep space. So I've got to navigate this ship with just me and Hal. Got to navigate this ship back to Kashyyyk. Can I do that? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a challenge here. Another progress. This one is a progress clock. I'm going to call dangerous. It is a dangerous clock. Actually, I'm just going to call it troublesome because he knows where to go. I know where to go, and there's not that many stormtroopers on the entire place. I've just got to navigate my way there. I'm going to call it troublesome, and I'm going to call it get to the astrogation room. Now, what this is to me, years ago I heard a story. A little story time, guys. Years ago I heard that submarines and certain ships have a secret control room or a secret way like that's not in the main, what's called the con, sort of, they call it like it's like the command center of a submarine. And if anybody were to try to take it over, they go to the conning tower, short for conning tower. They go to the con and they try to take it over. Let's say terrorists tried to take over, and they took over the control room. There are secret ways hidden throughout a submarine, or at least one or two ways. From what I've heard, this could be. I'm just going off of what I heard. I forget where I read this. That there is a way to control it and just get the ship to the surface. It's a very basic controls. I don't think you can launch weapons, but it's like hidden in like a random officer's room. And if he can lock himself in there, it doesn't matter what all the people in the control room are doing. He can blow all ballasts and get the submarine to surface back to the top of the water, and then send out a signal to like the country, like say the United States, hey, come help us. We've been hijacked by bad guys. So that's this control thing. This secret control room is like hidden behind a panel in a random officer's room, and it's not included on the schematics. And it's a way just to get the ship back to safety. And nothing anyone in the main conning tower can stop that. Whether that's true or not, I just heard that rumor. I read it somewhere. I'm going to say that's I'm going to pretend that that's true for a Star Destroyer. There is a highly coded secret room where a random officer, not even a super high-ranking one, can go to his bunk and lock himself in. And there's like 4 random people who know the code. And this engineer is not one. And I'm not one. But I'm going to ask him, is there a way to I'm going to call it the secret astrogation room. And he's going to look at me like, that's not even on the schematics. No, and I'm going to say, nonsense. That's not on the finalized schematics. Is it on the schematics for building the ship? It has to be on some kind of schematics in order to build it. Somebody somewhere would know. And I'm going to roll randomly for any information he might be able to give me, like a descriptor, breached, follow burden. Breached, follow burden. I'm going back to the droid that I saw that said alert, alert. I think this ship has a few maintenance droids that are still on it. The rebels stole it and had a skeleton crew navigate it away. I think the rebels knew, they breached this place. And they followed the droid who had the burden of installing the secret navigation room. And that droid is somewhere on this ship. And this guy, Hal, is going to shrug and say, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you wanted to look around for the droid, and I'm going to just roll a D100 here, sort of, to see what this droid's name is. And I'm going to pick a random letter, P14. So I just rolled 1 and a 4. I picked a letter. He goes, it's a P14 constructor droid. They can be very, constructor droids can be very large, like the size of a city, or they can be very small, like the size of a protocol droid. A P14 is like the size of like a protocol droid. They have tools that come out of their chests, and they have memories that wipe every 30 hours or something. Like that way they self-memory wipe so that you can't steal from them and get any information. And I look at him and I say, where would that droid be if this place was taken over? And he said, well, most droids that weren't blasted, like the battle droid that I saw, right? Hal tells me that they would be at a droid power station. And I'm just drawing on some of my experience of playing Star Wars games and, you know, watching Star Wars, reading Star Wars novels. He says it'd be a droid power station. And I go, well, where would a droid power station be? And he goes, follow me. So first, we have to get to the droid power station. So I'm going to change this to droid power station room. So this is going to be undertake a journey, right? So moves. We go down here to undertake an expedition. And it says, when you trailblaze a route through perilous space or journey over hazardous terrain or survey a mysterious site. Well, this is a prototype Star Destroyer. It's not exactly like another Star Destroyers. It's sort of, but it's not. So it's a mysterious site. I give the expedition a name and a rank. Okay, now I've got to find my way there. We're going to keep under the radar using Shadow, for which I get a +1. Remember, I can't use that Force Spirit right now. It has left me for the time being because of that bad roll I had a second ago where I tried to reach out to it for help. What do I get? I got a weak hit. So, on a weak hit, it says, as above, but this progress costs you, choose 1. So, okay, I reach a waypoint. I mark progress. Let's go over to challenges. See, I mark progress. Boom, boom, boom. So we're moving through the ship. We're trying to find where we're going, how to get out of here. But I'm going to say it costs me more spirit. So I'm down to 3. I'm down to 3 spirit, and I had to do it. I had to do it because I was moving through these places. I can hear the stormtroopers looking for me. I can hear the pitter patter of like security droids, and this Mune security team that's here, and I can hear them from the corridors distantly, and it's causing me stress. So it's basically causing me stress. So I'd roll to endure stress. I took a weak hit. It says you can shake it off. I can get +1 momentum, or I get some spirit back. I need to get my spirit back, or I need momentum too. Dang it. I'm gonna take the spirit. So we've made it halfway, and it says envision where you've gotten to. So just to give this journey a bit of flavor, right? You use oracles. So I'm gonna use like descriptor. I found like a valuable place that's sort of peaceful, and it's storage. Okay, makes sense. Valuable storage. We found our way through a storage place, and he kind of says, through here. And then we kind of push through and try to make our way through, and which then we kind of push our way. And once again, I get another weak hit. But I make my way through. Whew, this is a rough one. But we're 2/3 of the way there. Now we've made our way through a fragile area where there was an outbreak of fighting, I think. I found a few dead stormtroopers that my friends killed when they first stole this Star Destroyer. And it's a fragile area that we got to kind of be close because there's like a couple of rooms that got depressurized in the escape. So I got to be careful not to open any of these doors in this corridor. So we got to go down another corridor, turn a right, turn left, got to get out of this dangerous area. And we're moving on, and I've got to, again, so I'm going to just take that, minus 1 stress, and then I'm going to do it one more time, and that was a miss with a match, and then I got a weak hit. Okay, so here's what happens. I get there, and I'm just going to make this all one big roll. I'm going to make this one big roll. I'm going to finish out that challenge, and whew, that was close. I got a weak hit on an expedition there. So if you look at finish an expedition, or it's down here, explore a waypoint, finish an expedition. Okay, so I got a weak hit, and I would get 1 tick of XP because it was troublesome, but because I only rolled, bad, I don't get any XP for that essentially. So moving on. But I did roll a miss with a match before that. So what does the miss with a match leave me with? And then we will learn family. Oh no. Oh no. Here's what I think this is. I found a family that's like they work together as mechanics. They were also on this ship. There's like I'm gonna say a mother, a father, and their son, who's like 15 years old, and they're all like a family of mechanics. They were working on this Star Destroyer for the Empire when the rebels stole it. They are now locked inside their room, and they're running out of air because there's like a small hole, a breach in the back of their room. And when we walk by them, we see their hands banging on the glass of the door. Hey, let us out! And I can barely hear them. Their mouths are muffled behind. Let us out! Let us out! We're gonna die in here. My wife, my kid, our kids. We're gonna die. And now my character has a choice to make. Just like John McClane in Die Hard, I can keep fighting the bad guys, or I can try to help the innocent people, but that can slow me down. And you know what? I'm going to save that for the next installment of Die Hard Star Wars Holiday Special Die Hard on a Star Destroyer. The tagline, Yippee Ki-yay, Mother Kriffers. I hope you guys enjoyed it up till now. Hopefully next time we can do this, next time I do this in a few days, it will be concluded. Until then, if I don't see you before Christmas, I hope you, or whatever holidays you guys, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever, have a happy holidays and have a happy life day, guys. Good night.